Part 1.
You will hear a conversation between a man and a woman discussing the installation of a new phone. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Listen carefully to the conversation and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning. My name is Thompson. Is this the right office to organise my phone installation?
That's right. Welcome to NetPhone. My name is Linda. Please sit down.
Thanks very much. I've just recently moved into the area and bought a new house, so I need to have a new phone line installed.
That's fine. Okay, let's first start by taking a few personal details down. What's your first name?
It's John. That's J-O-H-N, not J-O-N.
And you said your surname is Thompson? Is that with an H and a P?
Yes, it's with an H and a P. It's spelled T-H-O-M-P-S-O-N.
And what is the address of your new house?
It's 14 London Road, Westley. The postcode is WE62FF.
Of course, you don't have a home phone number yet, but can we have a work number or a mobile phone number?
I can give you both. Work is 01836 829 748, and my cell number is 0176 6329 8541.
Sorry, could you say the mobile one again?
Of course, it's 0176 6329 8541.
That's fine, thank you. Have you had a phone connection with us before?
No. Where I lived before, my connection was through Medicom. Is there any chance of keeping my old number?
Where did you live before?
Toronto.
That won't be possible then, I'm afraid. With a change in town comes a change in code, and you can't keep the old Toronto code if you're not there.
Ah, yes. I suppose that's logical.
Now, the usual way to pay is to set up a direct debit payment, so that what you owe will come directly off your bank account each month. Is that okay with you?
That's fine. Will I still receive a bill through the post, though, so I know how much I've spent each month?
Oh, yes. We send out bills each month, unless you'd like to get them by email.
Not right now. With my new job here in Westley, I will need a new email address, and that's not ready right now. Can I change later on?
Yes, you can. You don't even need to come into the office. You can call our helpline for that, or do it online on our website.
Good.
So, let me take your bank details for your direct debit. I'll need your bank's name, the sort code, and your bank account number.
My bank is London Credit. The sort code is 134025, and my account number is 629861753.
Oh, that was a bit fast. Can you say the account number again, please?
It's 629861753.
Thank you. At the end, I'll print out a confirmation for you to sign.
Before the conversation continues, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, what services will you be wanting? Our most popular service is our Saver deal. With that, you can have your telephone connection and internet services for a monthly fee of $25 and no setup charge.
Well, that sounds like a good deal. I'll try that. What bandwidth do I get each month for that?
It's unlimited. We can also provide cable television as well. Of course, there are a variety of packages that you can choose from, depending on which channels you want.
I won't go for the TV just yet. I might do that later.
So, that's our Saver deal at $25 a month. Do you need an actual phone, as we have a nice selection in our catalog and our engineer can bring it round when he comes for installation?
No thanks. I've got my old phones from my previous house.
Okay. Now, when would you like our engineer to come round and make the installation?
Is it possible during the weekend?
We used to be able to install on Saturday mornings, but the unions didn't like that, so now only on weekdays, I'm afraid.
Can it be done this week?
Let's look. Today is Tuesday the 13th, July. Wednesday's full. But Thursday we can do it at 9 a.m.
Ah, no. I'll have to be at the factory then on Thursday. Any chance late afternoon on Thursday?
I don't think so. No. We had a cancellation at 4:30 p.m. on Friday. How about that?
That should be fine. Let's check. Oh dear. I'll still be in a meeting then. How about an hour later?
Yes, 5:30 is okay. It'll just take an hour, and our engineer's shift that day ends at 6:30 p.m., so that will fit perfectly.
Good. Is there anything else?
I just need you to sign this direct debit agreement that I've printed out. Here you are.
Thank you. That's done. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you for choosing Netphone.
That is the end of part 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 2.
You will hear a woman giving a speech about a charity-run school in Tanzania in Africa. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully to the speech and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for having invited me here today to speak about something which is very important to me. My name is Janet Rivers, and as you already know from the advertising posters around the building and communal emails, I mean to talk about the Moloto School for Girls in eastern Tanzania. Let me tell you a little bit about the background of our school. Moloto School for Girls has been in operation for only 4 years. It began due to a lucky meeting between Mr. Ben Mwanza, the current teacher at our school, and myself. Mr. Mwanza lives in the town of Mapanda, and he has been saddened for many years about the opportunities for girls in this area. I had been traveling around Tanzania on a budget and found myself stranded in Mapanda as I had missed my bus connection. Mr. Mwanza and I met by chance eating in the same cheap restaurant, and we soon found out that we were both teachers. After several hours of conversation, we had become inspired by mutual idealistic ideas, and I ended up staying a fortnight in Mapanda. There was another year planning, and then we opened our school doors for the first time. Let me now tell you a little about the school. We rent a classroom in a municipal building in the town. Mr. Mwanza teaches a class of 17 girls whose ages range from 12 to 16. Our resources consist of a blackboard and chalk, exercise books, ballpoint pens, textbooks, the enthusiasm of the girls, and the inspiration, imagination, and dedication of Mr. Mwanza. Our pupils do not only come from Mapanda town itself, but also from nearby communities and villages. Many of our girls have outstanding potential, which they showed in their primary education, but they lack the opportunity for secondary education due to a variety of reasons, including poverty, work, motherhood, family opposition, and a lack of secondary facilities in their area. Many of the girls not only depend on us for study at our school, but also for somewhere to stay in Mapanda, as commuting to and from the school every day would be unrealistic. This constitutes quite a remarkable commitment from our girls, as it means they have to live apart from their families, and often their own children, for considerable spans of time. As the family is a central part of society in this area of the world, the separation is a serious thing in the girls' lives.
You now have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the speech and answer questions 16 to 20.
As you can imagine, I am not here today just to inform you about the school, but to ask for money. All money raised goes towards the ongoing operations of our school. Any monies raised will go towards funding the following: Mr. Mwanza's salary, classroom rental, teaching resources such as chalk, books, pens, and textbooks, accommodation for girls staying away from their families, and support for the girls' families. The girls are often the breadwinner in the family, and if we take them away, this creates a hole in the family's finances. The families also often have to be the ones to care for the girls' children, so you can see that the commitment of the families towards their daughters' education is also immense. Our operation is basic. Only one classroom, only one teacher, only 17 pupils. There are basic materials and there are no computers. Computers are a pipe dream for 10 years in the future. But the future is what we look to. These girls can be the future in their country, and it is their education that can lead them and their families out of poverty and into a life of opportunities. Already 3 of our girls have achieved places at the area capital's university, and we are exploring avenues to continue to give financial support to these girls as their education continues. Now, does anyone have any initial questions?
That is the end of part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 3.
You will hear 3 students discussing their university presentation. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi Pete, hi Carol. Sorry I'm a little late. Have you been waiting long?
No, not really, and we were just chatting until you arrived.
Yes, don't worry. Sit down. Do you want some tea?
No thanks, I just had some.
Then let's get down to business. Now, we've been working for 2 days on this presentation on mining in South America that we have to give. We went away and did separate research into where we can find the best sources of information. We agreed that I would research the books and hard copy journals in the university library.
How did that go?
Fairly well, I think. As far as books go, there are the usual copies of the recommended reading that we were given in our book lists. I've taken out all of the ones I thought relevant on my library card. I'll tell you about them and you can write some notes. We have got Mining in Underdeveloped Countries by Roy Spalding, Mining Development in the 20th Century by Matt Bleacher, and Mineral Exploitation in the South American Continent by Carlos Mendez.
How will they help?
Well, Bleacher's book has got a very good introduction to all major innovations that happened in the mining industry during the 20th century. There's also a chapter on Chile and Argentina, the latter of which is of course particularly relevant to us. Spalding's book is mainly centered on Paraguay and Peru, but there are plenty of passages that could help us. Mendez's book has mainly large chapters on the specific problems that Argentinian mining faced in the past and continue to face now.
Okay, anything else?
Yes, there were two others that would be relevant to our section on Argentina. I had to order the first book as the university has to send for it from another university library. It is called The History of Mining in the Argentinian Andes by Timothy Janesco, and it'll arrive in a week.
That'll be the 13th of January. That's only 2 days before our presentation.
That's true, but I had a quick look at an online review, and it will give us some details that we won't have. I think that the detail the book will provide could be the difference between a good grade and an excellent grade. For example, there are short case studies on the gold and silver explorations in the 1930s in the Andes. If we want to get a really good grade, then we will need to give plenty of specific examples to back up our points. Don't worry, I know where to find everything, and I will supply the detail to Tom, who can insert it into the presentation at the right place.
That's good, I suppose, but I don't want to be changing things at the last minute. It would upset my preparation.
Well, we wouldn't want that. Don't worry, we'll make sure it's all fine. The other book is called Iron Ore Deposits in the Argentine Andes by Rob Hall, and I have it here. What is really helpful with this text is that it has lists of all the companies that have attempted to extract iron ore from the Andes and what relative success they have had. It's got all the investment and return on investment figures for all of these enterprises.
That doesn't sound very interesting.
Stop being so negative and obstructive, Tom. Anyway, our aim is to make a fantastic presentation, not necessarily be interesting. Well done, Carol.
Thanks a lot.
You now have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, how did you do, Peter?
Well, as you know, I had to investigate the online journals that the university subscribes to.
Any luck with that?
Well, the magazines I explored were Mining Monthly and the Professional Journal of World Mining. No others were really relevant.
Those sound fascinating.
Not really. However, there was relevant information there.
Excellent. What did you find?
In Mining Monthly, there were 2 articles that were relevant to our presentation. One was a quite old article from July 1954 called Andean Mining. This gave an overview of what kinds of minerals could be found in the Andes and what was being done to extract them. The second one was more modern, from May 2007, and was called A Historical Overview of Mining Techniques Used in Argentina. This gives us invaluable information for our section on how extraction was carried out in Argentina and Chile.
Those 2 will be really helpful. How about the other periodical?
There were also 2 articles here. The first was called Logistical Problems for Miners in South American Mountain Areas, from June 1905. The article covers many countries such as Colombia, Peru, Paraguay and Bolivia, but there are relevant sections for us on Argentina and Chile. As the name suggests, the article discusses mainly logistics issues. It's a shame the article will be a bit out of date now, but it will be of some relevance.
The 2 articles from the first periodical sounded much better.
Oh yes, but I've already read the June 1905 one though, and noted the important bits, so we won't need to spend any further time on it.
Good.
Finally, I found an article from May 2010 called Metal Ore Deposits in the Chilean and Argentinian Andes. This is really useful for our geographical focus. There are plenty of statistics on metallic deposits and who is trying to extract them. It's bang up to date as well, so that'll solve any problems on that front.
Yes, that's much better. I'm sure our presentation on our countries will be much better than those doing Peru, Colombia, Paraguay and Bolivia.
Oh yes, I think so. How about your research, Tom?
Yes, well, I'm just going to go to the bathroom and then I'll let you know.
That is the end of part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 4.
You will hear part of a lecture on demographics and trade. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to this lecture on issues affecting demographics and trade. Today we look at the Channel Tunnel, which is the tunnel built between the south of England and the north of France. The Channel Tunnel's construction has been an easy option for travel back and forth between the United Kingdom and the continent. It has also helped to boost what was already a very lucrative second home market in France for British investors, and it is this that will be our area of interest today, after I have given you the background to the building of the tunnel. While the history of the Channel Tunnel is controversial to say the least, it has been identified as one of the 7 wonders of the modern world by the American Society of Civil Engineers, and has the longest portion of any tunnel in the world below sea level. It is truly an engineering masterpiece, but few people will know that the first link between France and Britain was actually suggested back in 1802, when Albert Matthews suggested the creation of a towering mid-channel artificial landmass, which would have depended on special horse-drawn carts to ship people between the countries. Before construction commenced, many government ministers in Europe were excited about the opening up of trade, especially France, Belgium, Holland and the United Kingdom, as these countries are closest to where France and the United Kingdom would be connected. However, the latter country's government, the country being an island, was very apprehensive about opening up the country's borders and facing the potential problems which this could have brought. Anyway, the first actual construction of a Channel Tunnel began in 1974, when work from both the French and the British side commenced. Unfortunately, the British government had a change of mind shortly after work began, and the project was cancelled for financial reasons 2 years later.
1985 was the money breakthrough when consultations started about continuing the project. After 2 years of consideration, the project restarted in 1987 and finally ended in 1993, when the Channel Tunnel was born and connections between France and Britain changed forever.
One of the decisions that had to be made was the route of the tunnel. 2 towns on each side of the tunnel were in the running for being the sites for the French and British entrances for the tunnel. Hythe, in England, had the support of many people, but the bedrock below Folkestone was regarded as more suitable, and so the latter was selected. On the French side, the Hythe-Boulogne route was by far the more popular choice, but after the British Folkestone selection, Calais had to be chosen, as the Folkestone-Calais distance was slightly shorter. Deciding on the company that was to build the Channel Tunnel was a difficult choice. When the detailed submissions were received, it was agreed that Eurotunnel would be awarded the contract. The price tendered was viewed as being very reasonable, but unfortunately the construction cost of the project came in at £4.6 billion, which was actually 80% over the initial budget. It was decided that there would be 3 tunnels under the sea to be used, 2 for transport and 1 for maintenance. In these tunnels, there are 3 services available within the Channel Tunnel, which are the Eurostar passenger train, the Euroshuttle, which is a roll-on roll-off service for road vehicles, and trains designed to carry freight. There were also many issues with the British and French workers and the methods and equipment which they used. As work began on each side of the channel, the idea was to meet in the middle and then expand into the two adjacent tunnels and complete the project. However, the French construction teams and the UK construction teams used different methods to seal the tunnel and protect it from the immense pressure created by the sea above. Even though this worked well in the end, there were major concerns that the two methods being used would be incompatible. While the teams on both sides of the tunnel started and finished at the same time, in total, the UK construction teams bored out 84 kilometres of tunnel in total, against just 69 kilometres by the French teams. The UK and French used the same boring machines, though the UK side used 6 of the massive tunnel machines, whereas the French side decided to use 5. On average, the British workers managed to tunnel around 150 metres a week, whereas the French figure was lower at 110 metres a week, although many put this down to the variety of challenging tunnelling conditions.
That is the end of part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.